What's happening, guys? My name is Anthony, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you guys a track guide for the Hungarian circuit. Few quick things. I'm going to be trying to get all of the rest of the track guides that I need to get out as quickly as possible. There's just a few things going on outside of YouTube, outside of Twitch right now, that's not really allowing me to create content as regularly as I used to a couple of months ago. So bear with me with that. I do apologize for that. It's just things that are sort of out of my control at this moment of time. But yeah, moving on to the actual video itself now, make sure to come back to the comment section after you've done some practice and watched this video and let me know how much time you were able to shave off thanks to this track guide. So yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you around the track, just give you all the details, and then after that I'll show you a hot lap that I managed to record just so that you can see all of those details done in real time, and it'll give you a better idea of how to tackle the Hungaroring. So let's get straight into the slow lap and then we'll do the hot lap. And also, before I actually get into that slow lap, make sure to go to the pin comment and check out the baseline spreadsheet of setups that I've already got. There are still a few tracks that are missing, of course, because I haven't been able to do all of them. However, I will get to them, I do promise that. It's just taken a little bit more time than I expected to. So let's get straight into the slow lap. Right guys, so coming up to the final corner, Hungary is very similar in qualifying to a track like Russia, where the final corner is taken a little bit differently when you're starting the lap versus when you're finishing the lap. So when you're starting the lap, what I like to do is, once again, as usual, you go super wide. You really just follow the outside of the track and then turn in, rotate the car more so that you can straight line it a bit quicker, get on the throttle a bit quicker, because that'll allow you to carry all of that speed all the way down the straight up until turn 1. Open up DRS as soon as you can, and then you've got all that time, just carry all of that speed all the way down to turn 1. And speaking of turn 1, when you get there, on lap 1 throughout the race, I usually brake at the 100 meter board, because as tires go off and stuff, you have to start braking a little bit later. So in the race, I tend to brake on the 100 meter board just a little bit earlier than I usually would. However, I probably brake at around about 85 meters when in qualifying or in time trial. Brake super late in a straight line completely, and then just as you're passing the 50 meter board, that's when I start to turn in towards the first corner. My style is I like to turn in a little bit sooner than I usually would, shifting all the way down into third gear or second gear depending on your setup. And I like to try and hold on to that brakes just for a little bit longer so that I can get the nose turned in, and it will allow me to once again get on the throttle a little bit earlier and just carry all that speed throughout that corner. Stick to the right just for the least distance traveled. And then this corner, it's kind of difficult, and it's only really difficult because of the way the meter boards have been changed. The 50 meter board has been moved back compared to last year, and usually I would brake just after the 50 meter board in F1 2020. However, you want to brake just before the 50 meter board on F1 2021. You will be in about 7th gear, I believe, coming into the corner, and then you want to shift down into 4th or 3rd if you've carried just a little bit too much speed or your setup isn't as aggressive on the rear end. Again, get on the throttle as early as you can, stick to the right, and then just cut this corner completely. You know, ride all of the car, all of this curb here, and just carry the speed through. Open up the car a little bit more and run over that curb just so that you can carry all the speed. And then that's the first sector done. This corner, very tricky corner, because as you can see, even in TV board cam, the apex is still blind, so you still have to go by memory even in TV pod. So you'll be carrying 7th gear. What I like to do is just after I pass this red and white curb, I like to ride the car, the right hand of the car over the curb here, and then shift down. Do I shift down? Yeah, I shift down into 6th gear and just throw the car into the corner, right over this curb here, and then just carry the speed through, go as wide as I possibly can without invalidating. Very easy to invalidate here, especially if you bottom out, the car sort of just throws you off the track. And then coming up to this corner now, want to be as far left as you possibly can. Just before you start to reach the black box, that's where you want to start braking. You'll be in about 6th gear or 7th gear, depending on if you shift up. What I like to do is I shift down into 4th gear and then just hug the grey patch, the grey curbing here as tightly as I can without touching it, because this grey curb, it will spin you. So do not touch this grey curbing here. Just be as close to it as you possibly can. Smoothly on the throttle. In qualifying, you can open up the car a little bit sooner and run the car out wide to this section of the track here. In the race, I wouldn't really recommend doing that, but in qualifying, you can. And then 6th gear, once again, coming up to this corner. My style of braking for this corner is I like to brake quite lightly, so I would brake a little bit early just so I can carry the speed in. But if you want to brake super late in qualifying, brake just as you're approaching this curb, in a straight line, hard braking, and then shift down into third gear and carry the speed through. Try not to understeer through here because it's very easy to, and if you understeer, you go on this part of the corner and then it just messes up the car. So try not to understeer, just hold onto the brakes a little bit longer if you have to. Shift up to fourth and then use this grey strip because this is the easiest way to get the traction down, coming off this corner. And then just as you're passing this black box for this corner, you'll be in fifth gear. I like to shift down into fourth and carry the speed through. On a good lap, I would miss the grey curbing on the inside there, but sometimes I do end up hitting it. It does cause a little bit of time loss, but not too much. And then it's all about just carrying the speed, carrying the momentum through these corners here. You just got to practice throughout this section so that you can figure out your own lines through here. But just try and be as quick as possible, as smooth as possible with your inputs. And then for this corner, completely flat out. This next corner here, you will be in 7th gear. No, you will be, I'm usually in 6th. You might be in 7th. I'm usually in 6th coming into this corner. Just as I pass the red and white curbing on the left hand side. What I like to do is I like to shift down into 5th, and the reason why I like to shift down to 5th here is because when getting back on the traction, it just gives the car just that little bit more revs, that little bit more power to the rear tires, which means you can get back up to speed just that little bit quicker. However, if you get the line wrong, it can lose you a lot of time, so you sort of got to get the line right in order to do that. But you can stay in 6th if you want. Usually shift down to 5th, just carry the speed through, and then right back up to 6th as soon as I can, run the car out wide without invalidating. And then this next corner is again a very hard braking zone here. Coming into it, I think you'll be in 7th gear. You'll be in 7th gear. There's 2 ways you could brake here. My style of braking is once again similar to one of the previous corners in sector 2. I like to brake lighter going into this corner so that I can carry the speed in through the middle of it. So I would usually brake at around 60 meters. Roughly around about here, around about 60 meters, and then I'll just carry the speed through. However, you can brake super late at this corner. You can brake as late as just before the 50-meter board, and shift down rapidly into 3rd. Try and ride the curb completely here, because you will gain a lot of time. You can open the car up sooner, just so that you can go onto this little grey strip here and carry the speed. As I said, this corner, just as you're passing the black box on the right hand side, you would have just seen it. If not, if I went a bit too quick, I'll just show a little picture on the screen so that you can see where the black box is. Just as you're passing that in 5th gear, shift down into 4th or 3rd depending on your setup, especially in the race as well. If the tires are gone, you might want to be in 3rd. And then get on the power smoothly, open up the car, be in 4th gear, and then we're back to the final corner. And as I said, you have to kind of take this corner a little bit differently when you're ending the lap versus when you're beginning it. So when you're ending it, I usually use either this little box that this man is standing in, or I use the actual black box that you can see right in front of it as my reference point. Just as I'm passing those 2 things, in 5th gear, I shift down into 3rd gear actually, and I try and hug the curbing as tight as I can while still carrying the speed through. You don't want to hug it too tight or else the corner will go on forever and you will lose more speed. So stay a little bit more wide, and then as you're hitting the apex, well, not the apex, but as you're hitting the middle of the corner, that's when you want to sort of swoop in and just try and open up the car, put your foot down on the throttle as quickly as you can, and just again carry all the speed all the way up to the line, past the line, and hopefully if you're in qualifying, then that's pole. If not, then it's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, that's the detailed slow lap of the Hungary Ring. Now what I'm going to do is show you guys all of those little details in quick time through an actual hot lap. So I'll get into the hot lap, and then we'll talk about the ending and the setups.
Hotlap was a 1 minute 14.2.
Okay guys, so we've gone through all the details, all the minute details in the slow lap. I've taken you around in real time throughout the hot lap. Now it's time for you to go and practice what you've learned. And as I said, make sure to come back to this video and let me know in the comment section how much time you were able to gain. The reason why I always ask you guys of that is because I want to know how much you guys are improving. I want to know that these track guides are helping you, and the best way for me to know that is for you guys to tell me how much time you were actually able to gain off of that. So if you did learn from this video, if you also enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like on the video, and also consider subscribing just for more tutorials, more track guides like this coming in the near future. And I'll catch you guys